Hi guys, if you're new here, my name is Sam and I make videos about makeup, chronic illness, and whatever I want. And it has been a while since I filmed a video. It has been a while since I filmed up to filming a video. So I thought I'd do a little get ready with me and just kind of chat about life and things that have been happening. I am breaking out horrifically. I even have a zit on my eyelid right here. Hormones. So I thought it'd be fun if I pick a palette to use today. Odin's Eye Christmas Eve palette. Let me grab that. This is what we're working with. So it has cooled off here for the time being, but it was raining today, so I had to have the windows closed. And the house is a little stuffy. It's not hot enough in here for the air to be on, but it's hot enough under these lights that I need a fan or I will melt. That is also partially a hormone issue. I can't exactly remember what I have said in past videos. I don't think I have gone into much of like life recently. Let me just take a little peek at my videos, which there have not been many of recently. 2 months ago, maybe I touched on it, but I'm just gonna go over everything in case you're new here, in case you didn't watch that video 2 months ago, in case your brain functions like mine and you just don't remember it. Let's address the chair in the room. So this is my desk chair, and I got for Christmas last year, I think. It's a wonderful chair, so great. I had just like as is IKEA dining chair for my filming chair that I got eight years ago, just for like a crafting thing, because this was long before I thought I would ever do YouTube. So I just had like a little crafting set up and like a small vanity. It was all the same stuff, but just like a small vanity area, because I wasn't hardcore into makeup yet. I was just starting to dabble and things of that nature. That was a segue into a different story, but they're related. In high school, I had basically like a sports injury. So despite what you might think about me now, based on that, God, I'm breaking out everywhere. This is nuts. I was incredibly active before I got sick. I did running, I did kickboxing, I did Pilates, I played sports for fun. I was not nearly athletic enough to play said sports, but play volleyball with my friends, tennis with my friends, things of that nature. I was just a very active kid. I loved gymnastics and dance and cheer. Like, unless you knew me at those points in my life, I might not seem like the kind of person who would be into that stuff, but I was. I don't know what color I want to do. They're all so pretty. Let's do like teals and blues. I'm going to start, I think, with this brown shade, just kind of start as a crease shade. Back in my athlete days, I remember this day vividly because it started something for me. Do I want to zoom you in? Get a closer look at my zits. I was doing kickboxing. It wasn't anything crazy. I think it was one of those old Taibo things. So it's not like it was real kickboxing, right? I was doing a workout like I had done many times before, and I kicked my left leg out to the side like I had done a million times before. I'm going to get out my powder to like blend those edges more, because I want a really nice blend here. Also, if this makeup looks like crap, it's because I've done my makeup like twice in the last 2 months, I swear. So I'm doing this workout. I kick out to the side like I had done so many other workouts, and I felt my hip like pop. It popped, it got stuck, and it felt like it like pinched something, and then it quickly like popped back. I don't think it dislocated. It was clearly like a subluxation thing where it just moved out of place. It didn't fully dislocate. It didn't exactly hurt after that. It was like a very dull ache for maybe a couple hours. It was like, that's odd, but I was able to just move on and didn't think anything about it at the time. But that was kind of the start of it becoming a regular thing, because from that moment on, every time I kicked my leg or lifted my leg out to the side, like, let me use this because I can't show you. You're standing, and like your feet are pointing forward, and you like kick out to the side like that, it would do that popping thing where it would feel like it was popping out and then back in. And then when I started doing, like, I don't know the official name of it, like that bicycle exercise, but it doesn't always have to be. That's one of the exercises. But basically any exercise where you have your legs at a 90-degree angle like this, and then you straighten it and back. Every time I would do that, my hip would pop in and out. And I don't know how to explain it. If you've ever had a sublux joint, you know exactly what it feels like, because it doesn't feel good, but it also doesn't hurt. It's more of just like discomfort, I guess I would say. Anyways, so that was back in like 2006 all of this started. And it has just been like a regular occurrence ever since. I didn't really think a ton about it until probably like 6 years ago. It started to get a little more odd. So occasionally I would like swing my legs like up, like, use the brushes again. Like you're laying and you swing your legs to one side to like get up, and that hip would, at that point, I feel like it was mild dislocation because the pop was bigger, the pain literally knocked the wind out of you, and then I couldn't move my leg. Like, so it would just be like stuck off to the side. I would have to pull it up, pull it in, and then like straighten it, and then it would like go back in its place. I'm not a doctor, so I obviously don't know for sure like that was the dislocation. That's just what started happening, and it's just a guess, right? That's just what I guess is happening. It wasn't happening frequently, and it didn't cause lasting pain. Like, once I got it back in position, I was fine. So I never brought it up. I didn't really think about it, because when all of this started, like the popping started, and I had done some physical therapy for a while. They just told me I had weak hips, which I do. I very clearly have weak hips. So I just thought that was it. But a lot of the exercises they were having me doing was causing that like clicking, popping, and it never got better. Like, I was regularly trying to strengthen my hips the way they taught me for 20 years, almost. Like, next year would be 20 years. And it was still doing it. So I just figured, like, oh, hey, like, it is what it is. Now, around this time is when I start to learn about hypermobility. I'm going to go in with this shade now. And I realized, oh, my hips are probably just hypermobile, which, yes, that means they're weak. Cool. Like, that's kind of an answer, right? Kind of have an idea of what's going on now. Just keep work on strengthening things. But the thing I didn't know is there aren't a ton of physical therapists who can recognize hypermobility or know how to not treat it, but teach you how to do the exercises differently than a normal individual. So with hypermobility, if you have it, you know this. If you don't, I'm about to tell you. your muscles and ligaments do not naturally contract properly. So like when you go to lift something, a normal person they just have to focus on form and then they can go. When you're hypermobile, you have to manually activate the muscles. The muscles just aren't activated. Like a normal person, you get in your correct form, you have your weights, and you can go to town. When you're hypermobile, you have to get in position, then you have to like manually activate the muscles, and then you go for it. So where the resistance for a non-hypermobile person would usually be there, we have to create the resistance, or else it's not doing anything, and in some cases it's actually causing more harm than good. I literally just learned this within the last couple of months, so it's been a thing, and I have been working on like doing things to where I saw this personal trainer who is hypermobile, and he like teaches you how to do stuff. And so I've been doing some of his exercises, and it's wild because he used an example of squats, and he's like, have you ever wondered why when you do squats, like, you don't feel anything? Like, they don't seem hard? And I was like, yeah, I just thought I was like super good at squats. He's like, but you also never notice any visual improvements or changes. I was like, yeah, like I never got any tone. I never had anything like that. And he's like, yeah, it's because you're not actually activating your muscles. So in his videos, he like teaches you how to do that. So I did my first like real squat. And let me tell you, like, I cannot explain to you what it feels like to go from squatting with no muscle activation to squatting with muscle activation. It feels like lifting an empty cardboard box versus actually lifting weights. And it was so funny. I learned how to activate my shoulders and my shoulder blades properly with weights. And let me tell you, like, I actually understand when people say, like, oh, you'll feel it here. And I'll be like, I don't feel anything. I feel it when I know how to activate my muscles properly. A long-winded way to circle back around to the physical therapy I was doing for my hips. I wasn't doing properly because nobody told me how to activate my muscles, probably because they had no idea how to tell someone to do that or that they needed to. So the blame is on nobody. Years go by. Oh, I guess I should sidebar. Since I was around like a freshman in high school, I kept having issues where I was going to the chiropractor because my hips were always off, specifically the left one. They were always uneven on a regular basis. It was kind of a pain. And that has continued all through my adult life as well. These colors don't look amazing. I don't know why I thought they would. It's just kind of like a gray blue now. This looks blue now, so I'm going to go with this dark blue, seeing as that made a blue. Oh, this is going to stain. So I've always had problems with my hips. So it wasn't odd that this hip thing started happening. It was just kind of like, okay, I'm in my 30s now, like, this is just life as aging, I suppose. And to some degree, it is. Like, aging changes the body, normal. And, you know, when you have chronic illnesses, it might be a little worse than for the average person. So I go on about it for a couple of years. And I know I talked about it on my channel. I want to say it was 2 years ago. I started chiropractic again because, like, my back went out and I could not move. I was in such severe pain all of the time, and I found out I had, like, the start of scoliosis. Like, my hip was messed up. It was causing my back to curve. It was just a whole thing. I did that for a while. My chiropractor is not currently in practice anymore, so I stopped going because I didn't want to see a different one. Then all of a sudden, I woke up with excruciating hip pain. I cannot even put into words how it felt. It wasn't in the back of my hip. It was in the side and the front. I was not able to sit. I could not really move. I wasn't exactly sure what to do because I didn't know what was wrong, right? My first thought is, oh, I'm going to have to go back to the chiropractor. But it was the weekend, so I did ice, I did rest, I did all those things. And then I started doing research of like, okay, is there anything I can do? Is there any kind of stretch? Is there any kind of exercise? So on and so forth. And that's when I figured out, based on all my symptoms, like what it was and what was happening. Do all this and I'm like, okay, my hip is doing this clicking thing. I have this kind of pain. It feels like it's stuck. It feels like it's catching. The pain is not radiating anywhere. So I knew it wasn't sciatic because it wasn't in the back. It wasn't radiating down my leg. It was nowhere. It was just in like what they call like a C shape of your hip. So like this is your leg. Well, you can't see. This is your leg. This is your hip. It like wrapped around and it was just in that area that goes into like the V of your pelvis and then around to the side, like where you feel like the ball and socket of your hip. That's where this pain was. I did the tests to rule out sciatica, which is where you lay down and you put your leg up. First of all, if you could put your leg up, it's not sciatica because that would be excruciating. And if you can pull it in and like that, I had no pain, no nothing. That actually helped relieve some of the pain, actually. Mine was almost exclusively when I was sitting. It didn't hurt when I was walking or standing. I had like deep like bone pain all of the time, so even when I was laying, but like the sharp like take your breath away pain was when I was sitting, or when I tried to do anything with the hip that wasn't straight forward and back. So I could walk, I could bring my knee to my chest, I could do everything that was this. I could not do any kind of I think it's anterior rotation. I could not do any of that. Looking it up, I'm like, all right, I probably need like an orthopedic person to go over this, and it looks like it is wow, I totally forgot the name. So there's a labral tear, which can go along with it, and that very likely is part of it, but they can go hand in hand. Hip impingement, oh my god. Wouldn't be known exactly like what did what and how unless I went in for imaging and surgery. I was trying to put that off because I have had enough imaging and surgery for my life. Ideally, I would like to not have any more. But I was also in so much pain that I thought, like, this literally might not be an option. I got some KT tape because I found ways to tape for both things to, like, give it some stability, and that immediately took away like 90% of the pain. So I was like, okay, it is very clearly this. What do I do? If I went into an orthopedic surgeon, they would suggest physical therapy first for like 6 to 8 weeks, obviously, because you don't want to rush into surgery. So I was like, let me try. Well, first is that if physical therapy makes it worse, it means it's too severe, and like you'll just have to either try injections or do surgery. And I was like, well, what are the most common exercises for this? Because let's try it. Let's try it so I can like see if these particular movements aggravate it or not. So if I have to go in, I can be like, these are all my symptoms. These movements hurt. I look up and I find an orthopedic. There's actually one incredibly close to me who specializes in this specific thing and the surgery for it specifically. I guess it's a fairly recent, like in the last 15 years, like this surgery to save your hip joint, because untreated hip impingement and or labral tear can cause you to need hip replacement late in life. I really don't want to deal with that. So I was like, all right, I'll give them a call. Well, they were closed for the entire month of July at this office near where I live for remodeling, and they were seeing patients in their other office that is an hour away. And I was like, no, this is a perfect sign to just try the exercises for a couple of weeks. So I get my list of exercises, and they help so much. Where I have been most of the summer, besides sweating to death, is I could not sit. Like, even now, I'm very aware of my hip right now. It doesn't hurt, but I'm very aware of it. That white chair, impossible to sit in. So I was like, let me try this. But I had to get through an entire month of doing this physical therapy before I could even sit in this chair. When I say I couldn't sit, I mean I could not sit. Even about 2 weeks into physical therapy, I could only sit at a 90-degree angle for maybe 10 minutes. And then the rest of the day, my hip was really bad. It was not fun. I'm at like week 7 now. I'm just going to end up doing these exercises forever because there are ways to increase resistance and stuff with the bands, like getting stronger bands. But I notice if I even miss a day, the next day my hip is a lot more irritable, which this is kind of leading me to the fact that in the coming years, I'm probably going to have to see orthopedic anyway. And so I didn't even tell you what this is. Now, hip impingement is like the ball and the socket, you're supposed to sit perfectly with a little gap. Sometimes the front or the back is rubbing on it. So basically the ball of your hip does not fit in this properly, and it can be from an injury, it can be from just birth, how your bones formed. It can also be the labral tear is a tendon, and if that tears, it can cause the hip to pinch in there. So if you were born with a hip impingement and it just starts bothering you, they go in and they shave some of the bone. They'll do this either way, get rid of some of the bone. But let's say they just need to get it to fit in there in the first place, and your labral tendon is fine. They just have to reseat the joint basically. But if it's the tear that caused it, they have to give you a new labrum, usually with donor tissue, and also reseat the hip. Given how my body is responding to it, that very well could be a possibility. I would opt for injections first. I really don't want to have hip surgery. The recovery for this is the equivalent of a hip replacement. Well, it's a far less serious and far less invasive surgery. It is the same recovery, and I don't want to do that. But I will do what I have to do to save my hip, because if I have this problem and it continues, I continue to, the pain comes back and I ignore it, I'm basically just deteriorating the joint. So I won't do that to myself, but I would ideally like to try the injections into the hip to see if that does anything. But I'm at least at a point now where I can sit. I still can't sit for extended periods of time, but I was at a point where I could not sit at all. That's where I was for the first half of the summer. Where's my second half of the summer? It's been so hot. I hate the heat, period, but normally I could still film a bit more than I have been filming. My issue has been recovering from the gluten challenge last year. I want to do this one and this one. I've been more prone to migraines since that challenge. and the heat triggers my migraines. So you can imagine those two things, it just hasn't been great. And then hormones this month also set off my migraines. I keep it in my phone. I've had a lot of migraines in the last few weeks. Let's just do all of August, because August ends. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 migraine days in the last month. Before the gluten challenge, I was down to 2. Yeah. And some of these have been like severe ones, not just I can keep functioning through the day. I don't beat myself up too much because I also just know it is what it is, and like this is the life of chronic illness. It's not predictable. You can only go with the flow. And if you don't, you'll ruin your life. And I'm not about to do that. So my summer has literally just been duct taping my body back together, I guess. Some other things, I don't quite have updates yet because like my appointments are in the coming weeks, but I may have to start going back to hematology if my blood work is funky again in September. And I'm hopefully going to start a new asthma treatment as well. The hematologist's not excited about the new asthma medication. Very excited. It's going to be a biologic. Unfortunately, that means I'm going to be incredibly immunocompromised, where now I am like immunocompromised on and off depending on my treatment at the time of the year. This will just be like permanent, but that's okay. Like, I have still been taking precautions because of how severe my asthma is. I try to not get any kind of anything that can damage my lungs. In the last 5 years, I have had bronchitis 4 times, pneumonia 2 times, and COVID 1 time. I don't want anything else in my lungs if I can help it, especially because I'm prone to just weather-related bronchitis in the fall. So like Earth is giving me lung issues. I don't want it from germs. Now, I still go out and do stuff. I go to the mall or whatever. I just do it with a mask. It's not that big of a deal. It's not fun. I don't love it, but I'm not on an oxygen tank from all my lung damage. So for me, that's like a win, right? As for the hematologist, I love my hematologist. She is wonderful, fabulous, such a great doctor. What I don't love is having more issues. I was so excited when I figured out the celiac thing, and like that's why I was anemic. I was like, oh, thank God, like one less mystery. One less mystery and then another mystery to come up with. When my primary care physician ran the blood work that led to the celiac diagnosis and the anemia diagnosis, she had a lab hematologist go over the test results as well to basically help her understand if I needed hematology or not. Or like, And they mentioned this disease, polycythemia vera, I think, which is a blood cancer, but not like big C, sad, scary, awful. Little c, it is just a bone marrow disease, if that makes sense. It's not going to kill me. In the little note, it said if certain test results did not normalize after the iron deficiency anemia and the folic acid anemia were resolved, then like it probably is that, and I should, like, testing should be done. Gave it some time, obviously. We tested, my primary has been testing my iron and folic acid every 6 months just to make sure that if it dipped down again, like we caught it, it should be fine now that I'm following my celiac diet, but like she still wants to keep an eye on it for a while. Well, we tested it at the year mark. My iron is great. I'm not anemic, but those tests, which is like the size of my red blood cells and how many I have, are still wrong. So they're too small and there's way too many of them, which still signal that thing, polycythemia, whatever. She told me at my visit in March that like it needs to normalize on my next blood work. So if it isn't normal when I go at the end of September, back to hematology. And the treatment isn't anything crazy. It's modern day bloodletting is an option, which is basically just have blood removed like a lot at once and then just regularly, because this just means I have too many red blood cells in my body. So they're too small, which is signaling my body to produce more, and so now I just have too many, which can lead to a higher chance of clotting, especially as I age. So I just want to remove blood. Sometimes, if it's not severe, because there's a test for this, not a fun test. One is a gene and the other is a bone marrow test, which I'd rather have hip surgery, I think. Aspirin, I think, is a treatment. And depending on, I don't have a history of blood clots, but there is a medication for people who have a history of blood clots and like maybe like kidney issues or something. There's an actual medication for it, but it's not anything wild. It's basically the testing that's gonna suck eggs. So that's everything about my health. I've talked for like 30, 40 minutes about that. This is going to be a bitch to edit. Life in general has just been a little boring. Not complaining. That is not a complaint. Just because I've basically been horizontal for months. But I have been, like one of my goals was to continue to reduce screen time. It's been so long, I forgot I need to open on my new primer because I finished my one. I've been trying to get more into analog hobbies again. In my goals, I wanted to get back to my scrapbooking and stuff like that. I have been. I've also gone back into junk journaling, which is kind of like less serious scrapbooking, I suppose. I brought my new one over here. I'm not going to open it because it's like binded shut right now. But we got a good start going over here. It's just, I usually keep greeting cards I've been sent, like cute packaging and stuff. So I like to keep that. I like to keep stickers and things. So all that stuff I've been saving, I've been putting in there. I know this looks like the wrong color because it is. But my summer foundation is dark, so. I also discovered, I don't know if you guys are on this side of TikTok, like the personal curriculum stuff. I like rubbed this into my hand, or mixed this to warm it up into my hand a little bit too much. I started working on like personal curriculum kind of stuff. I think I'm gonna make some videos about it. Like, want to get back into monthly favorites videos, and I think I'll add it into that of like what my little curriculum was for the month. What kind of TikTok are you guys on? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to do the rest of this off camera. This video is going to be 75 hours long, and you don't want to watch that, and I don't want to edit that, so I will be back. My eyebrows look kind of nuts, but I haven't really done them in a while, so we're gonna power through and just accept that this is what they look like today. I did everything except like under eye blush. I thought I would do that with you and just kind of wrap things up. I'm going with this. Like I said, I've just been trying to spend a little more time offline. It has been really nice, actually. I started rewatching Supernatural, which has been fun. A long show, a lot of things to refresh my memory on. Like, I've rewatched bits here and there, but I haven't done a start to finish. Usually in my rewatches, I kind of stop around where it was supposed to originally end with season 5, but no, this time I want to give it a whole rewatch. I'm on season 7. Also, it's perfect timing because I will get my Halloween decorations out this weekend. And I usually always put it on when I'm decorating, kind of like my own little tradition. So that works out well based on the time of year. As I'm filming this, September is Monday. I think this is going to go up on Saturday. So, like, it'll still be September is Monday. This foundation looks so good. For me, this Infallible, L'Oreal Infallible, like, this looks like Estee Lauder Double Wear on me, which saves me a lot of money because that bitch is like $52 now. That's nuts. I think this is like 15, maybe 16. I hope it isn't like that. Even if it's like 20, like, fine, still cheaper, but your drugstore, get a grip. I do want to get my winter shade in this once I finish up some other stuff in my one of my other winter shades. Ulta always has an inflated price. It's $18.99 at Ulta, but it's $14.99 at Target. It's $16.50 at like my local store. Also, where do drugstore companies get off? Like, I swear it's $14.98 at Walmart. But like, everything used to be like $12 to $15. So the fact that Ulta is charging $20 for this, nuts. Don't get it at Ulta. You could probably get it literally everywhere else. I'll zoom you in. Even with all my zits. My nose is a little weird because, like, I just started chemical exfoliating again, but it looks good. Alright, I'll be back once I do mascara and all that. Okay, this final look. I did Pillow Talk. Probably my favorite lipstick of all time at this point. It is beautiful, complements my skin perfectly, and goes with quite literally any eyeshadow look, period. That's it. I am going to wrap it up. I really hope that I can get back to regular filming in the near future. I'm not going to push it because what good is that? I push myself, I crash, and then I'm out of commission anyway. So I'm not going to do that. I have stuff ready to go. I have things written. I have started, and I need to hurry up now. I figured out my main Halloween costume. I figured out a couple of the minor ones, and I need to start working on my movie list. I need to just start working on those October videos because that starts in 30 days, basically. And I don't know how that happened. I hope you guys have been doing well and taking care of yourselves. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I promise I will be back soon.